What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with a vintage collection market update. I'm going to muddle my way through another video with this bad sinus infection. So if I start coughing uncontrollably, it's because I'm sick as a dog. Okay, I haven't slept at all. But we're gonna take a look at some vintage collection items that sold. I've got some TVC 1.0. Somebody sold a graded combo of the mouse droid along with Salacious Chrome. You want to stick around for that one. That was a pretty big price. I also have some resale prices for you on the new N1 Starfighter. Those are starting to pop up on eBay given how difficult it has been for some folks to be able to locate that one. So wanted to kind of go through all that. We've got graded and ungraded, so let's go ahead and dig in. This was an interesting seller here. He had she had two different Target exclusive three-pack three-packs. And, you know, we've talked about these in the past and how gigantic they are. And these were by no means in mint condition. They had some obvious wear and things like that. But they're just so big. I always laugh every time I see it because I couldn't imagine where somebody is able to store these. But this one had the Hoth Rebels, the Bespin Alliance, and then the Imperial set with the Zuckuss AT-AT driver and the TIE Fighter palette. So this one sold in an auction for $143.50 plus $17.85 shipping. I can guarantee you it cost you a lot more than $17 to ship that one. But we documented one. I think it was this exact same combination that sold for over $200, if memory serves, a couple of weeks ago. And then he also had this one, and it was the same set, actually. So it was the Bespin Alliance, Hoth Rebels, and the Imperial set. Two different sets, $149 on that one. So, you know, it looks like $143.50 and $149. This one was in slightly better shape, but neither of them were perfect, but, you know, it is what it is. But just some interesting data points there on those. Next up, we had Darth Vader name pill, unpunched, the Anakin Skywalker from Revenge of the Sith. This one was not perfect, though. It had some card curl going on the bottom right-hand side by the UPC on the back, and some obvious edge wear all the way around it. Now, you know, it seems like we've been seeing this unpunched example go for, you know, let's call it $200 to $250 maybe. Maybe a little bit less for the Darth Vader. I've heard that the, you know, unpunched Anakin is a really tough one to get, and that one can set you back $400 plus. But this one obviously went a little bit lower, $122.50 plus $10 shipping, just given the condition issues on that one. But that's a good kind of budget-friendly one if you're looking for an unpunched Darth Vader. Several different foil card backs sold, and the first is Obi-Wan Kenobi. This seller had the Obi-Wan Kenobi. It looked to be in really clean condition, although it looks like maybe the figure shield had done some kind of light wear to it around the edges there. That's always the worry I have with these figure shields or, you know, like clamshells or star cases. I've never had it happen to me, but I don't use figure shield. I just feel like figure shield just doesn't fit right for pretty much anything. So I don't recommend using them. And, you know, again, it may not be because of the figure shield that it caused that, but it seems like it's got some light edge wear going all the way around on the upper left-hand side of that foil Obi-Wan Kenobi. But it's still sold for $149.97. And he had another one that I'll show you in a second. But here's the combination of General Grievous, the foil, and the non-foil original release VC-17 General Grievous with the rocket-firing Fett. Both of these were punched examples, and these were, you know, gifts given to me. I mean, it was the most generous thing in the world from two really great friends of mine that are Patreon supporters. But we got the foil General Grievous, and we've got the, you know, the non-foil punched example. Those sold in an auction for $256 plus $10.65 shipping. And I got two different data points for Clone Commander Cody. This one only had this one photo, so how do you judge condition? I don't know. To me, if you're going to be selling this stuff, you need to have better photos than just a really blurry single shot inside a figure shield case. That one sold for $161.50, and then this same seller that I just alluded to also had a Clone Commander Cody foil, and this one did not have any edge wear around it, although it did have, looks like a light, faint crease by the ages 4 and up, and the you know, the SKU code there. So it wasn't perfect either, but a pretty nice looking example overall. I mean, this is probably like an 85 condition. Looks like a little bit of card wave maybe. Yeah, a little bit of card wave, a little bit of crunch going on by the proof of purchase. So probably at best an 85, but still a very nice figure. That one sold for $230. So you can see the price difference here. You know, if you give good photos, $160 versus $230. Pretty big price difference. Next up was a UKG 90 grade VC23 Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight. And this was a punched example from 2010, and it has, you know, the paperwork inside. It's got the paperwork inside, but no offer sticker, so I don't know what that signifies. I think this one came, you guys will know better than I do. I'm not an expert on this stuff, but I think that this one came with the prototype FET offer. Is that right? I don't know what I'm talking about, but anyway, this is a pretty nice example. It's 2010, so I guess it would have to be the rocket firing FET. I don't know. But maybe this was a European release and just doesn't have the warning labels. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I'm too sick to figure it out. But this one sold for 170 pounds, which is $210 US plus shipping. But that's a nice looking example of a punched VC23 Luke. Next up, you know, VC40 R5D4. Obviously, he just came out with the announcement that he's being re-released on the Mandalorian card back, which was not a shocker. I mean, I think we would all agree that that was kind of expected. But the original issue is seems to be kind of creeping back up in price a little bit. I saw one that was a punched example with hang tab damage that sold for $135. This one was a really clean unpunched example US card that sold for $130 free shipping. And then I sold my CAS 90 example of this exact same item unpunched for $215 on eBay. So just some data points for those of you looking for the original issue VC40. It's a nice looking card, but I got to pay the man. I got some bills to pay, so I had to sell it, unfortunately. But $130 for an unpunched example. This is another one I do have available, by the way. This is an AFA uncirculated 90 VC103 Obi-Wan Kenobi. So this is the original issue. I do have this one unpunched. It's not uncirculated, but it's an unpunched original issue Obi-Wan. I think, no, wait, I'm sorry. I think mine's the Anakin Skywalker. I think I've got the original Anakin Skywalker unpunched. I think I already sold my Obi-Wan. Don't quote me on this. Obviously, my brain is not firing on all cylinders, but this uncirculated 9.0 sold for $230 plus $19 shipping. This seller seems to always have the early TVC 1.0 and very high grade uncirculated, and they are selling for big, big numbers. But I do have an unpunched Clone Wars Anakin Skywalker US card, original issue. That one is graded CAS 90. I think it's 165 if memory serves. If you have any interest, you can reach out to me or check out Rogue 5 Toys. But anyway, that's a nice looking Obi-Wan Kenobi. Next up, this price, I mean, you know, the Imperial Assault Tank Commander continues to be all over the place in price. I mean, I've seen as low as like 60 to 80 bucks for the driver, not the commander. The commander, the lowest I've seen recently, I'm going on memory, was $85. That's the lowest I've seen. This one sold for $135 plus $6 shipping, so $141 versus the low I've seen of $85. But the tank driver seems to be kind of staying down a little bit, like 60, 65, maybe 70. But the Assault Tank Commander, that's the big boy, and it continues to go up in price. But this one did sell for $141 shipped. We had a UKG 90 HasLab Yak Face. That one sold for 380 pounds, which is $471 US. I think that's probably about right. I mean, ungraded, they can go for anywhere from $275 to $350. So to get a UKG 90, that's probably about right. That's probably about right. Pretty nice looking example, though, of the HasLab pack-in for the sail barge UKG 90. Next up was another UKG 90. This is the Droids Boba Fett. That one sold for 80 pounds. 80 pounds, which is $99 US. That's a good price. That's a good price. I'd pay that all day long. You know, again, I know it's a repaint, you know, another Boba Fett, but man, I love that card back. I mean, what is there not to love about this card back? There's just everything about this is like one of my favorites in a very long time. Fennec Shand and the 2021 Droids Fett are two that come to mind that for recent releases that I just absolutely love. But I love that one. I'm excited about those new comic style card backs with Boba Fett. And, you know, again, they're repaints, but there's one that's got a Star Wars 42 homage, you know, his first appearance comic, and then it's painted like the first appearance comic. I can't wait to get that one. That's so awesome. I know it's a repaint, but I'm a sucker for that, man. It's just, it's nice to see some comic book love on the TVC card backs. Next up was a 9.0 grade ARC Trooper from Battlefront 2. I wanted to point this one out because I thought it was interesting that AFA says Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, which I think the Umbra Operative was an Entertainment Earth exclusive, but then Big Bad Toy Store ended up getting those too. So I'd be curious to see how AFA labels that one. If they might just say online fan channel exclusive or something. But this is a nice looking example. It was archival 9.0. That one sold in an auction for $152.49 plus $14 shipping. Disruptor is, in full disclosure, Disruptor is a Patreon supporter of mine, and I really appreciate your support. And he's always got great stuff. I mean, he's got a beautiful selection of items for sale, so go check him out. Next up was a U-95 Revenge of the Jedi Boba Fett. So this was the pack-in. This was the pack-in in the SDCC set. Somebody sent in the whole pack, and it came back with an uncirculated 95. So this is not the retail release. Unpunched, absolutely stunning. U-95, wow. SDCC, wow, that is an amazing item. It was listed for 500 pounds, which is $620, and the seller took 400 in a best offer accepted. So 400 pounds took that home. So what's that? Probably about, I don't know, 520 or so, somewhere in that ballpark, 525. But wow, what a stunner. That is gorgeous. And this seller is also a Patreon supporter, and he does have some others available, some very high-end pieces. So if you have any interest on what he's got for sale on eBay, Star Wars Fan 29, but you don't want to deal with eBay, you can reach out to me and I can put you in touch with him. Next up, I got some vehicles before we wrap things up with the two Salacious Crumb and Mouse Droids that sold in a combination auction. They were graded. But I do have some vehicles I wanted to cover. The B-Wing from 2011, it seems like to me more and more that the vintage collection vehicles from the early years, 2010, 2011, 2012, they are starting to get up into some big boy prices, and even some of the later releases are too. But this one sold for $225. That was a nice looking example. The AT-AT on the Return of the Jedi box. Obviously, there's an ESB box as well, but this one sold for $745. $745 for that. And, is that fair? Yeah. I mean, we've seen probably 4 or 5 or 6 data points that are all kind of $650 to $850. So that seems to be fair for that Toys R Us exclusive. Awfully stunning. Next up was the Smuggler's Run Millennium Falcon. That one sold in an auction for $590 plus $50 shipping. And it was not, I don't think it was still in the box. Was it? Now, only taken out for display. So this is not even mint and sealed box. This is for the box and then a loose Falcon. And it still sold for $640 shipped. So big prices on those. And then finally, I wanted to show you guys the, well, not finally, but final for the vehicles is the Mandalorian N1 Starfighter. I know folks have been trying to get that, and some of you have had issues. I would just be patient. I'm sure they're going to do multiple production runs, but they're already being scalped on eBay. This seller's had 10 of them available. 4 of them have sold, and they've been selling for $200. Now, I think the MSRP, at least in the U.S., is $132. So it's not a terrible markup. It's $199, so about $60 markup. Let's call it a 30% markup, and then eBay takes 10% of it. So he's getting about 20% markup on them. But I would imagine that after the first batch ships to customers, there's going to be a lag, right? It's probably December, January when the second batch of N1 Starfighters will ship from Hasbro. I bet in the fall, heading into Christmas, these prices are going to look cheap. I bet there's going to be some that go for big money. Maybe I'm wrong because people will have them in hand. But there's going to be people that missed out on the first production run. They want the second production run, and there's Christmas coming up for their kids. So I bet you'll start seeing $250, $300, some crazy prices. I hope I'm wrong, but I think I could see it happening. Finally, I got to show you these. These are incredible. UKG 90 gold level, and they were in auction in a combination for the Mouse Droid and for Salacious Crumb. Holy moly, that is amazing to have both of those in an auction together. And they sold for $1,550, which is $1,922. So about $1,000 a piece after accounting for shipping. Took home the Mouse Droid and Salacious Crumb in 90 grades from UKG. So big boy prices on those, as they always are, and I hope that you enjoyed this look at some recent TVC sales. Thanks for bearing with me as I work through this sinus infection, and I will be back soon.